So, what if there were new Eeveelutions? That's a question that I'm sure many Pokemon fans have long asked, if not created new Eeveelutions of their own. I know I have done so myself. They're some of my favorite Pokemon, and their popularity is all too evident in the fanbase. Every type by this point has got to have hundreds of possible fakemon designs. So let's avoid making standard Eeveelutions and instead ask, well, what if the franchise started creating dual-typed Eeveelutions? That's right, what if Eevee evolved into not a single-typed elemental form, but a brand new Pokemon with two distinct types, representing a more layered and complicated concept than standard Eeveelutions? That's today's task, and we'll begin by creating Eeveelutions that combine the types of the original three, so one fire-water, one electric-water, and one fire-electric Pokemon. Beyond those combinations, what are our goals? Well, I want to make these Pokemon plausible entries for a future game, or perhaps a region that I might make in the future. So these will be believable original Pokemon, not just fusions of Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon. We'll try and honor the original forms when we can, but only minimally. Secondly, let's try and make these new Pokemon feel more wild, more powerful, and more complex compared to the original Eeveelutions, which kind of bear domesticated cat or dog looks in most cases. Finally, let's go for a shared theme, almost like this is a legendary trio of sorts. We're dealing with the hybrids of fire, water, and electric here, three highly volatile natural compounds that are subject to a lot of change through many of Earth's natural processes when they combine with one another. So why don't we tentatively call this trio the Matter Trio, and we'll see if that's a fitting term at the end of the video. Before we get into it though, I do want to mention that today's video is proudly sponsored by both TokyoTreat and Sakuraco. These are a pair of Japanese snack food subscription boxes that each offer their own variety of greatness. TokyoTreat is more so focused on modern flair, snacks that you can only find in the bustling shops of Japan, like this month's collection, known as Santa's Snack Fest. This might be the best collection that they've put out in the time that I've been snacking on these boxes, guys. If you love tea as much as I do, you will love the milk tea Kit Kats and this royal milk tea drink. So many delicious treats with adorable holiday packaging are in here. Meanwhile, Sakuraco gives you a more traditional tour of Japan, with snacks locally sourced from a rural prefecture. This time it's Tochigi Traditions, from, you guessed it, the Tochigi region. I always love looking through these little booklets that they offer to learn more about history and culture. My favorite snacks in this box are definitely these sea urchin rice crackers, which taste super savory, and this lemon yukon. I still can't figure out really what it is, but it has a really unique flavor, so you gotta try this. This tea is also great for the cold weather, considering it just started snowing where I live. And this wrapping cloth is perfect for, wrapping things. If you're interested in these boxes, please don't forget to use my code TAMVALLEY in the video description to get $5 off of your first box and get a chance to visit Japan in person, because they're giving away a free ticket to visit the country. Check the links below for the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to experience Japanese culture and delicious food. Thanks once again to TokyoTreat and Sakuraco for sponsoring the channel and making videos like this possible. Alright, so let's kick this off with a Pokemon that combines the water type of Vaporeon and the fire type of Flareon. To be honest, I don't plan on retaining all too much from Flareon's design for this particular Pokemon, but I do think a good starting point would be to iterate on the seafaring aesthetics of Vaporeon, with those large ears, gills, and fishtail. It really conveys a sense of diving deep into the aquatic depths, which is where we'll draw inspiration from, because the combination of water and fire makes me think of one thing: underwater volcanoes. These are really deep on the seafloor and spots where magma and hydrothermal steam can erupt, pumping out the molten heat from the Earth's core into the seas. This commonly happens near fissures at the junction of two tectonic plates. So again, that ties into our theme here of kinetic motion, or dynamic reactions. Plenty of animals already live around these dangerous eruptive places, and we don't really have too many fire Pokemon that represent magma or lava rather than true fire. So let's get to it. Introducing Thermion, the magma Pokemon, a water and fire type. These Pokemon live within volcanic trenches and tropical waters. As such, they are incredibly hard to study. They retain magma in their pores. Whenever they choose, the magma will spill out onto the surface of their cartilaginous skins, a viscous armor of sorts that burns at nearly 1,000 degrees. This proves incredibly helpful in deterring potential predators that lurk in the abyss. They are excellent scavengers and will burrow dens in volcanic rock to sleep or to find a pincurchin to eat. Thermion can evolve from an Eevee that experiences a burn status condition while diving and exploring underwater. In terms of the design, I again turn to Vaporeon's design, making the ears and tail nice and sharp, so look like an aquatic mermaid or siren that could swim to great depths. I also darkened the body color to look like a shark's cartilage, something super resilient that could get burned, scratched, and submerged, all without physically harming Thermion. Again, I was going for a wild look, something dangerous and resilient. After all, these Pokemon contain magma on their skins, and they extend it into protection on their tails and necks almost as a mane. I imagine the bubbles can spew upwards at any time and are easily replenished, but Thermion can restore the magma in its body when attempting to glow less brightly to avoid dangerous predators, or just to crawl into dark, tight, rocky coves, which they do quite often, as evidenced by the grime that builds up on their paws. And as it was the first one that I designed, it set the tone for this video by being original enough that I wanted to make these true fakemon, and not just generic hybrids of the real trio. Oh yeah, and I also gave each of these new Pokemon a signature ability, so here's Thermion's Vent Back. This references the heat expelled by underwater vents by having Thermion blast back heat at its foe when it's hit by a fire-type attack, thus burning the foe. I wanted to give some thought to these abilities to further drive home the themes of natural reactions and phenomena with this trio, so keep that in mind for the other two as we continue. Now let's turn to the second end of this pyramid, combining electric and water. Of all the three types here, these two elements really have the most interaction in the natural world, I think. Obviously, this design makes me think of one thing: lightning. Water is extremely conductive and plays a huge role in huge thunderstorms, which are concealed in clouds, made of water of course. So let's make a true thunderstorm Pokemon, one that might include the fluid shapes of clouds and also the harsh striking force of lightning bolts. So leaning more towards Jolteon, but definitely honoring water as well. Introducing Nimbion, the lightning Pokemon, an electric and water type. Nimbion like to gather on cliffsides when high winds and lightning storms are approaching, absorbing electricity and downpour. The more it rains, the more powerful they become, trapping thousands of volts of electricity at a time. They can douse their foes in water, then discharge deadly bolts of electricity. They are very territorial and will staunchly defend their packs by whipping up stormy winds, and their thick paw pads can prevent them from sliding about in storms, as well as grounding them during their electric attacks. Nimbion can evolve from an Eevee that experiences paralysis while caught in the rain outdoors. So designing this Pokemon was somewhat of a challenge, purely from a color perspective. I made the cloud white initially, but that totally left out the water type. It looked more like an electric flying type. So I darkened it to look like a rainy storm cloud, one that definitely contains a lot of moisture and properly charges up those lightning bolts, which I think speak for themselves. However, their placement in front was intentional to differentiate it from Jolteon's spiky back, and also look like the prongs of an electric cord, showing this Pokemon's theme of electricity reacting to and being charged up by water, in contrast to Thermion, which simply collects and retains magma for warmth or protection. Nimbion's goal is to collect but then discharge its electricity in great blasts. That's why I gave it a more firm, still stance than the other two here, showing how it initially prefers to ground itself and isn't an electric type that really likes to zip around, although it is quite fast. Its ability Storm Cluster also references this idea of charging up as well, where each water type attack that hits Nimbion will increase its special attack stat. Finally, let's turn to one of the weirdest possible combinations, fire and electric. It's so weird, in fact, that no real Pokemon to date has this typing. However, Plasma kind of comes to mind. Not only aesthetically, as neon signs and plasma toys kind of seem like the perfect hybrid of fire and water's visuals, but also on a molecular level. Plasma is defined by matter that's incredibly charged up in an electromagnetic field or superheated. After all, stars in outer space are pretty much just giant balls of plasma. So we're working with something incredibly volatile, hot, fluid, charged up, and simply weird. Let's make a Pokemon made out of pure plasma and see where it goes. Introducing Plasmion, the Neon Pokemon, a fire-electric type. Very little is known about this form of Eevee, which were originally created in a lab environment. They seem to have complete control over their anatomy, able to stretch, bend, and even momentarily separate when navigating its environment or in combat. They are extremely energetic and they don't often sit still. They flash a bright glow when excited and they're extremely hot to the touch. They can survive in many conditions and seem to be extremophiles when compared to most other Pokemon. Plasmion can evolve from an Eevee that experiences both paralysis and a burn in the same battle, thus getting superheated and supercharged. For the design, I thought less about what made sense scientifically or had basis in reality, and kinda went full sci-fi. It draws upon many forms of plasma, like pure ionized plasma that you see in stars, hence the squishy fluid design, which, along with its connection to outer space and lab research, draws upon the ideas of an extremophile, like a tardigrade or an amoeba. This fluidity is also referenced in its pink-orange coloration, meant to kind of allude to lava lamps or rubber balls, which obviously aren't plasma but still seem like fitting visual inspirations, since they're glowy and always in motion. The inner bolts that you can faintly see within its gooey body are meant to look like the discharge from Tesla coils, or those plasma balls that you can touch at museums. I think it's a solid contrast from the fluidity of the rest of the design, which, unlike the natural stability of Magmion and the powerful discharge of Nimbion, showcases something much more chaotic but still natural. Finally, its ability Ionize is meant to reflect the conditions of Plasma's creation. Each electric attack that hits this Pokemon will boost its speed, showcasing how charging up the particles that comprise Plasmion's body will simply make it stronger, faster. Real-life Plasma has no fixed shape, and its molecules move very quickly, so this seems like a good fit. This might be my favorite of the trio simply because of how cute it looks but still kind of uncanny, almost like the weird one from any starter trio in a sense. So those are Thermion, Nimbion, and Plasmion, 3 potential new Eeveelutions that all reflect change, motion, exchange, and power in the natural world. All 3 of these Pokemon incorporate natural materials in multiple states of matter: solid, liquid, gas, and plasma, frequently in combination with one another. A way of reflecting the idea that things like water, electricity, and heat don't exist in isolation in the natural world, but frequently combine, affect one another, and change. Hey, that's perfect for a Pokemon like Eevee. What would you label this trio thematically, and which one is your favorite? Furthermore, would you like it if Eeveelutions took this route of providing dual types going forward? I know I had a lot of fun playing with the design conventions of Eeveelutions to create something much weirder and more complicated than straightforward elementals. Let me know if you'd like to see this series continue. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time for more content.